Welcome back to Chalkline Crime, your new home for lesser-known solved and unsolved true crime cases. Before we start this week's educational video, we ask if you're enjoying this content to please like and subscribe, as it greatly helps grow this channel. And don't forget to jingle that bell icon to get notified anytime we drop a video like this. Chalkline Crime releases a new video every week. Thank you for your support. Now, without further ado, Chalkline Crime presents a deep dive into killer cults. Ever wondered how a group of seemingly ordinary people can transform into a cult committed to disturbing beliefs and practices? This question has puzzled sociologists, psychologists, and curious minds alike for decades. The power of a cult is an enigma, a riddle that lies at the intersection of human psychology, sociology, and the darker corners of our collective consciousness. Cults aren't just about bizarre rituals or secluded communes. They're about influence, persuasion, and the human tendency to seek belonging, often in the most unlikely of places. Take, for instance, the mysterious and haunting tale of the Children of Thunder cult. This group wasn't made up of societal outliers or fringe extremists. No, these were ordinary folks like you and me, who were drawn into a web of manipulation and control, spun by two charismatic brothers. Their story is a stark reminder of the power cults can have, the grip they can take on the minds and hearts of their members. The Children of Thunder cult didn't just shake the foundations of their followers' lives. They sent shockwaves through society as their chilling deeds came to light. Their story is one of darkness and deception, a tale that began in the late 90s and continues to haunt the annals of criminal history to this day. But what exactly led these individuals down such a disturbing path? How did two brothers manage to wield such influence to convince others to commit unthinkable acts in the name of their twisted beliefs? These are the questions we'll be exploring as we delve into the enigma of the Children of Thunder cult. Our journey begins in 1997, with two brothers at the helm of what would become a chilling tale of manipulation and murder. The year is 1997, and two brothers, Glenn and Justin Helzer, start a journey that would shock a nation. We dive into the murky waters of their pasts, where the seeds of manipulation and charisma were sown. Born into a conservative Mormon household, the Helzer brothers were raised under a strict religious regimen. Their father, a devout Mormon, instilled in them a deep sense of religious conviction. This early exposure to fervor and faith would later become a twisted tool in their arsenal. Despite the stringent upbringing, the brothers were known for their charm and charisma. Glenn, the elder of the two, was particularly captivating. His ability to weave a narrative was remarkable, drawing people into his orbit with an alluring blend of charisma and conviction. In contrast, Justin was more reserved, yet equally manipulative. He had a knack for exploiting vulnerabilities, a skill that would later prove vital in their horrific endeavors. As the brothers grew older, their paths diverged from their strict Mormon roots. They started experimenting with drugs, leading them down a rabbit hole of paranoia and delusion. This descent into darkness marked the genesis of a sinister plan. The brothers, fueled by their twisted ideologies and drug-induced hallucinations, decided to form a cult. They called it the Children of Thunder, a name that echoed not only their own delusions of grandeur, but also their belief in their divine mission. Using their charisma, they began to attract followers. They preyed on the vulnerable, exploiting their hopes and fears, manipulating them into joining their unholy cause. Their tactics were cunning, their manipulation ruthless. The Children of Thunder was born out of the delusions of two charismatic brothers, their minds warped by drugs and a distorted sense of their divine mission. Their charm and manipulation skills were the tools they used to lure unsuspecting individuals into their web. Little did anyone know, the brothers' twisted vision was only just beginning. The Helzer brothers, under the guise of spiritual enlightenment, began to distort religious teachings to serve their sinister purposes. The Children of Thunder, led by the charismatic Helzer brothers, Glenn and Justin, crafted a belief system that was a twisted amalgamation of New Age spiritualism and distorted Christian theology. At its core, the cult preached the idea of spiritual transformation, a journey from the mundane to the divine. But this wasn't the spiritual growth that you'd find in a peaceful yoga studio or a tranquil meditation retreat. No, this was a dark and twisted path that led to destruction and despair. The brothers manipulated their followers into believing they were chosen ones, handpicked by God to bring about a new world order. In this new world, they claimed, money would be meaningless, and the chosen would rule with divine authority. They used these enticing promises to justify their heinous practices and to keep their followers in a state of constant obedience. Among these practices were relentless psychological manipulation and financial exploitation. Followers were made to feel special, chosen, loved, only to be emotionally and mentally broken down. The Helzers exploited their vulnerability, taking their money, their time, and ultimately their freedom. The cult also engaged in bizarre rituals designed to bind the members to the brothers and to each other. They conducted group meditations where they would visualize their goals, often involving wealth and power, and then work tirelessly to make these visions a reality. The rituals were less about spiritual enlightenment and more about fostering a sense of unity and obedience among the followers. And the most chilling part, the Helzers believed they were doing God's work. They saw themselves as divine messengers destined to usher in a new era of peace and prosperity. But the reality was far from this. Their distorted beliefs and practices served only to feed their own egos and to control those who had been unfortunate enough to get caught in their web. What started as a spiritual journey quickly descended into a horrifying nightmare. As the cult grew, so did the brothers' thirst for power and control, leading to a series of horrific crimes. The Children of Thunder, led by the Helzer brothers, Glenn and Justin, embarked on a path of destruction and terror that would leave an indelible mark on the community. Their increasing hunger for power and control manifested itself in a series of chilling crimes. Without delving too deep into the macabre details, let's discuss the dark underbelly of this cult. The brothers, along with their accomplice, Dawn Godman, embarked on a killing spree that spanned 5 victims. Their victims weren't strangers, but people they knew, people they had entwined in their twisted web of deceit and manipulation. The brothers believed that these murders were necessary sacrifices for their cause, a clear indication of how deeply their delusions ran. The first to fall were Ivan and Annette Steinman, an elderly couple who were members of the cult. The Steinmans were defrauded of their life savings before they met their tragic end. The brothers believed their wealth was an obstacle to their enlightenment. The subsequent murder of Selena Bishop, the daughter of blues musician Elvin Bishop, and her mother, Jennifer Villerin, sent shockwaves through the community. These barbaric acts, committed in the summer of the year 2000, shocked not just the community, but law enforcement as well. The scale and brutality of the crimes were far beyond what anyone could have imagined from a group that had initially seemed like just another spiritual commune. The brothers, along with Godmen, had managed to create a climate of fear, making them the subjects of one of the most chilling chapters in the annals of American crime. Their reign of terror was so profound that it shook the community to its very core, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. The reign of terror of the Children of Thunder had finally caught the attention of the authorities. In the end, the brothers' twisted vision led to their downfall and the disbandment of the Children of Thunder. The long arm of the law eventually caught up with the Helzer brothers and their followers. Their reign of terror came to a screeching halt when an astute financial investigator noticed a suspicious pattern of transactions. This led to a deeper probe, and the sordid details of the cult's activities began to unravel. The brothers were apprehended in a well-coordinated operation that ended their reign of terror. The trial that ensued was as dramatic as the events that led to it. Prosecutors presented an overwhelming body of evidence, including chilling testimonies from former cult members. The Helzer brothers, in a twisted show of defiance, showed no remorse. Their indifference to the suffering they had caused sent shivers down the spines of those present in the courtroom. The sentencing was a foregone conclusion. The brothers were handed multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole. Their followers, those who had not turned state's evidence, received varying sentences, reflecting their roles in the cult's heinous activities. The aftermath of the trial was a time of healing for the victims' families and the community. It was a painful process marked by grief and a desperate search for answers. The revelations during the trial had left them grappling with the reality of the horrors their loved ones had endured. The community rallied around them, providing support and solace in their hour of need. The scars left by the Children of Thunder run deep. It's a dark chapter in our history, a chilling reminder of the power of manipulation and the tragic consequences when belief systems go awry. It underscores the need to remain vigilant, to question, and to think critically. The story of the Children of Thunder serves as a chilling reminder of the power of manipulation and the dark side of belief systems gone awry. Have you ever wondered how far the human fascination with the supernatural can go? Today, we delve into the enigma that is the vampire clan cult. This isn't your everyday fascination. No. This group took their obsession to an extraordinary level, fully embracing the supernatural as their way of life. Imagine living every day as if you were a creature of the night, a being from the other side. Intriguing, isn't it? Welcome to a journey through the dark, twisted tale of the vampire clan cult. Our story begins in the 1990s in the small town of Murray, Kentucky. In the heart of this quiet community, a sinister plot was brewing, masterminded by a charismatic and enigmatic teenager named Rod Farrell. Obsessed with vampires and the occult, Farrell was not your average high school student. His fascination went beyond the pages of Anne Rice novels or the scenes of the latest horror flick. He believed, with a fervor that was both compelling and terrifying, that he was a vampire. Farrell's conviction was so powerful that he began to draw others into his web of darkness. Friends, classmates, even strangers fell under his spell. They were mostly teenagers like himself, impressionable and hungry for a sense of belonging. Farrell offered them something irresistible, a chance to be a part of something special, something unique. He offered them a place in his vampire clan. The formation of the vampire clan cult was a chilling example of how easily the human mind can be manipulated. Farrell convinced his followers that they too were vampires. They engaged in rituals, drinking one another's blood in a twisted parody of communion. They believed they were immortal, that they could harness supernatural powers. They lived in a world of darkness, both literally and metaphorically, their lives revolving around Farrell and his chilling doctrine. But this was not a harmless fantasy. The cult's beliefs were dangerously delusional. They reveled in their perceived immortality, their supposed supernatural powers, and their disdain for human life. They were lost in a world of their own creation, a world where reality and fantasy were indistinguishable. And so, with a group of impressionable teenagers under his control, Farrell had established his own clan of vampires. As we'll see in the next scene, this was only the beginning of a descent into a darkness that would have unimaginable consequences. As with many cults, the vampire clan's activities began to escalate. What started as an adolescent fascination with the occult soon took a dark turn. The clan's rituals, once merely bizarre, spiraled into the macabre. They began to drink each other's blood, a disturbing act they believed would grant them eternal life. This ritual, they claimed, was the ultimate bond, connecting their souls in a profound eternal web of darkness. In the dead of night, they would gather under the moon's pale gaze, their faces lit by the flickering light of candles. Their ceremonies were a twisted blend of reverence and rebellion, an eerie mimicry of the religious rituals they had grown up with. They whispered incantations, their voices intertwining in a chilling chorus that echoed through the silent night. With each passing day, the cult's crimes grew bolder. They started with petty thefts, shoplifting trinkets and jewelry, but it wasn't long before their hunger for chaos led them to more serious crimes. They broke into homes, delighting in the thrill of transgression, their hearts pounding with a perverse sense of power. At the helm of this descent into darkness was Rod Farrell, the charismatic leader of the vampire clan. Farrell's influence over the group was absolute. He spun tales of past lives and immortality, his words weaving a captivating web of intrigue and fear. He claimed he was a centuries-old vampire, a notion that his followers accepted without question. Under his leadership, the clan's rituals grew increasingly dangerous, their crimes more audacious. Yet, it was not the blood-drinking rituals or the petty crimes that would etch the vampire clan into the annals of true crime history. It was not Farrell's grandiose claims of immortality that would make their story echo through the years. It was something far more sinister, an act so shocking it would send tremors of horror reverberating across the globe. But it was their final act that truly shocked the world. In November 1996, the vampire clan cult crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. This was the month when the darkness they embraced spilled into the lives of innocent people. Richard and Naoma Wendorf, a loving couple, parents of Heather Wendorf, a member of the cult, became victims of a brutal crime, their lives snuffed out in their own home. This horrific act wasn't just a shock to their small community. It sent shockwaves across the nation. Richard and Naoma, who had no idea of the dark path their daughter had chosen, became symbols of a nightmare that had come to life. Their demise, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurk in the shadows of society. The gruesome crime scene triggered a nationwide manhunt, a relentless pursuit for justice. The cult members, led by their charismatic leader, thought they could evade the law, disappear into the night like the vampires they fancied themselves to be. But they were mistaken. One by one, they were hunted down, cornered, and captured. The faces of these so-called vampires were splashed across newspapers and television screens, their dark eyes reflecting the horror of their actions. They were no longer faceless specters, but real flesh and blood individuals, their humanity a stark contrast to the monstrous acts they had committed. The vampire clan cult had been brought to justice, but the horror of their actions would forever linger. Their story serves as a chilling reminder that even in the darkest corners of society, there's a line that should never, ever be crossed. In the wake of the trial, the world grappled with the reality of the vampire clan cult. The courtroom became a stage for a drama that would unfold in the stark light of day, far from the shadowy realms the cult had claimed as their own. Rod Farrell, the self-proclaimed vampire leader, was handed a life sentence, a stark contrast to his fantasy world of immortality. The jury, however, acquitted Heather Wendorf, stirring discussions around manipulation and innocence. The trial's conclusion forced society to reevaluate the allure of the supernatural, especially among the youth. It was a stark reminder that fascination with the supernatural, when twisted, can lead down a dangerous path. The case of the vampire clan cult became an eerie touchstone in pop culture, influencing books, movies, and discussions about youth and the occult. And so, the tale of the vampire clan cult serves as a chilling reminder of the dangerous allure of the supernatural. Have you ever heard of a cult that combined elements of Satanism, voodoo, and the occult right in the heart of Massachusetts? Today we're going to dive into the enigmatic world of the Fall River cult. Emerging around the tail end of the 1970s and creeping into the early years of the 80s, this cult was a peculiar mix of beliefs and practices that sent shockwaves through the quiet town of Fall River. At the helm of this chilling operation was a man named Carl Drew, a charismatic yet manipulative figure whose control over his followers was absolute. Under Drew's guidance, the cult twisted elements of Satanism, voodoo, and the occult into a macabre tapestry that was as fascinating as it was terrifying. But what exactly did they believe? What did they do? And how did it all come to an end? As we delve further, prepare to unravel the chilling chronicles of the Fall River cult. The Fall River cult didn't just emerge from nowhere. Its roots can be traced back to one man, a figure of dark charisma and manipulative charm, Carl Drew. A man whose cunning and influence knew no bounds, Drew was the puppet master behind this macabre gathering. Drew was no ordinary man. He possessed a certain magnetism and allure that drew the vulnerable towards him. His targets were often young women, lost souls searching for purpose or a sense of belonging. He preyed on their vulnerabilities, offering them a sanctuary, a place where they could feel valued. But this sanctuary was nothing more than a facade for his sinister plans. The Fall River cult was not just a social gathering. It was a melting pot of strange and terrifying beliefs. It was a place where the lines between reality and the supernatural were blurred, where the mundane met the macabre. The cult's beliefs were a bizarre blend of Satanism, voodoo, and occult practices. Satanism, with its rituals and ceremonies, was a key aspect of the cult's belief system. It was used as a tool to instill fear and command obedience from the cult members. Voodoo, on the other hand, was used to create an aura of mystery and intrigue around the cult, adding to its allure. The cult also indulged in occult practices, dabbling in the netherworld of the supernatural. It was a world where spirits were conjured, spells were cast, and the unknown was explored. These practices added an extra layer of fear and fascination, making the cult all the more enticing for those drawn into its web. But it wasn't just about fear and fascination. The cult members believed that through these practices they could gain power, control, and even immortality. It was this combination of fear, fascination, and the promise of power that kept them hooked. With a charismatic leader and an intriguing set of beliefs, the stage was set for a chilling tale. With the cult in place, a reign of terror was about to unfold in Fall River. In the quiet corners of this unsuspecting town, a series of chilling murders began to take place. Each one more horrifying than the last, the gruesome nature of these murders sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened investigators. The brutal scenes left behind were not the typical crimes one would expect in such a tight-knit community. They were ritualistic, savage, and bore the sinister mark of the Fall River cult. Each victim was found in a state of horror that echoed the cult's twisted beliefs. The killings, it seemed, were not merely acts of violence, but a dark form of worship, a perverse tribute to the cult's deities. The cult's signature was unmistakable, linking them directly to these grim acts. As the body count rose, so did the terror in the hearts of the local community. Parents clutched their children a little tighter, neighbors watched each other with suspicion, and the once bustling streets of Fall River fell eerily quiet. The atmosphere was thick with fear, the town's tranquility shattered by the horrifying reality that a ruthless cult was living amongst them. The police were under immense pressure to solve these crimes and bring an end to this reign of terror. The local force, unprepared for such a horrifying ordeal, sought help from outside agencies. The investigation was vast and complicated, with every lead seeming to only deepen the mystery. The local media caught wind of the story, and the town's dark secret was soon making headlines across the country. The peaceful facade of Fall River was shattered, replaced by a narrative of cult-driven terror. The once idyllic town was now synonymous with the chilling acts of the Fall River cult. The reign of terror brought about by the cult was a dark chapter in Fall River's history. The community was forever changed, the innocence of the small town lost to the horrifying acts of a group of individuals united by their twisted beliefs. The once peaceful town of Fall River was now in the grip of fear, with a ruthless cult at its center. As the body count rose, the authorities were determined to put an end to this reign of terror. So began the relentless pursuit of justice, a pursuit that would lead investigators to a dark world of cult rituals and horrific murders. The investigation into the Fall River cult was as intricate as it was intense. The authorities found themselves delving into a labyrinth of deceit and manipulation, where the line between victim and perpetrator was often blurred. It was a world where the unimaginable had become a terrifying reality. Among the key pieces of evidence that linked the cult to the murders were ritualistic objects found at the crime scenes. These objects, which were consistent with the cult's beliefs, were seen as a chilling signature of the cult's handiwork. But it was the grim testimonies from former cult members that really blew the case wide open. They painted a picture of a cult driven by power, fear, and a twisted interpretation of spirituality. Perhaps the most significant role in bringing the cult to justice was played by Karen Marsden, a former cult member. Karen turned whistleblower, providing the authorities with insider information about the cult's activities. Her courage in coming forward, despite the very real danger she faced, was instrumental in the prosecution's case. The trial that followed was a media sensation, with the public captivated by the shocking revelations about the cult's activities. The prosecution methodically presented their case, revealing a chilling narrative of coercion, control, and cold-blooded murder. The defense, however, argued that the evidence was circumstantial and that the testimonies of former cult members were unreliable. They painted a picture of a group of outsiders, misunderstood and vilified by society, but the jury was not swayed. The evidence was too strong, the testimonies too compelling. In the face of overwhelming evidence, the once powerful Fall River cult was about to face its downfall. The stage was set for the verdict, a verdict that would bring an end to a dark chapter in the annals of crime. The trial of the Fall River cult marked a chilling chapter in the history of Massachusetts. After a grueling court battle, the verdict fell like a hammer. The cult members, each found guilty as charged, received sentences that echoed the severity of their crimes. Some faced life behind bars, while others, those less involved, were handed down years of incarceration. The courtroom, filled with a tense silence, reverberated with the finality of justice served. In the wake of the trial, the local community struggled to heal. The horrors perpetrated by the cult had left deep scars, and the town of Fall River found itself grappling with a grim legacy that would echo through the years. Schools and community centers held meetings seeking to support those affected and foster an environment of healing. The local church became a beacon of hope, with its doors always open for those seeking solace. Yet the legacy of the Fall River cult extended beyond the boundaries of the town. The cult, with its dark rituals and violent acts, became a topic of morbid fascination for many. Books were written, documentaries were filmed, and countless articles were penned, each trying to unravel the enigma of the cult. The world watched, aghast at the tales of manipulation and murder that unfolded. Today, the Fall River cult continues to be a subject of study for criminologists, psychologists, and mystery enthusiasts alike. Its tale serves as a grim reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink when led astray by manipulation and misguided beliefs. It has also sparked discussions on the importance of mental health support and community vigilance in preventing such tragedies from recurring. The Fall River cult, a chilling tale of manipulation, murder, and mayhem, remains etched in the annals of true crime. The Fall River cult, a dark chapter in Massachusetts history, serves as a stark reminder of the destructive power of manipulation and misguided beliefs. This tale began with the formation of the cult, born out of twisted ideologies and warped convictions. The cult, under the cloak of secrecy, delved deeper into darkness, leading to a reign of terror marked by heinous murders that shocked the city to its core. The relentless pursuit of justice led to a high-stakes investigation and trial, a spectacle that held the nation in its firm grip. The aftermath of this saga was a city scarred, but resilient, with a legacy that has become a part of its identity. The Fall River cult, a chilling testament to the macabre, continues to intrigue, horrify, and serve as a cautionary tale. As we conclude this journey into the heart of darkness, we're reminded that sometimes the most chilling tales are indeed true. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us next time as we travel to Georgia to visit a few chilling cold cases. Till then, my friends, stay safe and stay informative. Chalkline Crime over and out.